Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video we'll be looking into the final character at the Desert Diner Pizzeria, and this character is Fiona the Fennec Fox. So we'll go into this character's backstory, location, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. As always, I will just state that everything I say in this video isn't necessarily linked to the overall universe and lore of FNAF. This is just a fun what if scenario and a cool creepy story we get to tell, and I hope you enjoy. And lastly, before we start today's video, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty everyone, well let's get into the last character concept at the Desert Diner Pizzeria with Fiona the Fennec Fox. So previously in our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series, we've been introduced to the Desert Diner Pizzeria. So far our Night Guard character has desperately avoided attacks from the whole cast of characters. The characters we've met so far have been Corey the Camel, Scott the Scorpion, Randy the Rattlesnake, the Cactus Kid, Arnie the Armadillo, and Victor the Vulture. Each of these characters has attempted to attack the Night Guard night after night. But now we come to the final night at the Desert Diner Pizzeria. And this leaves one last character to introduce. And for the last character we have Fiona the Fennec Fox. Fiona was designed after the adorable desert animal, the Fennec Fox. One of the most notable features of the Fennec Fox are their large oversized ears and fluffy tail. Fiona was given a light pink colour scheme to appear more friendly looking to the younger audience. So Fiona's role at the pizzeria was that of the daycare attendant. So the Desert Diner Pizzeria had its own daycare centre upstairs at the end of the arcade. This part of the pizzeria was known as the Desert Daycare. This is where the guests could leave their younger children whilst they relaxed downstairs and enjoyed their food. Fiona was the one who was in charge of the daycare. She would take care and look after all the young children throughout the day. She was programmed to be nurturing and caring in nature. All the children loved Fiona, and Fiona enjoyed her job very much. She wouldn't know what she'd do if she didn't have her children to look after and take care of. And that's why, out of all the animatronics, Fiona took the month-long isolation the hardest. As the pizzeria shut its doors due to its pest problem, all the animatronics suffered their very own breakdowns and incidents due to the lack of guests for them to entertain. But when it came to Fiona, she missed all of her children that she would look after day after day. She felt quite lonely and didn't understand where they had gone. Did they abandon her? Or did something happen to them? All she knew was something wasn't right. Day after day she waited for them to return, but none of them ever came back. Week after week, Fiona started to change. Her loneliness got the best of her and her sanity started to diminish. Fiona would never leave the daycare centre. Although each of the animatronics over this month-long period would hang out in their respective areas, even after the pizzeria reopened, Fiona was locked away within the Desert Daycare. No one knew why the manager chose to board up this area. Some staff members say that the manager went inside to check it out and never went back inside. They immediately boarded up the door and wouldn't say why. What on earth did they see? What could make them so panicked that they would need to lock up the daycare and never open it again? One thing was for sure, the Night Guard was quite curious about what could be behind the daycare door. Before their shift started, they would get up close to the door and listen out for any strange sounds. Sometimes they would hear a scratching sound, and other times they would hear the sound of shuffling feet. As these days went by, the night guard's curiosity drove them mad. They needed to know what was behind those doors. Clearly, there was something inside. Maybe it was Fiona. All the staff were told by the manager that Fiona was sent away for repair, but no one believed them. Especially the night guard. But enough was enough. They needed to find out what was inside. They pried open the door and took a look inside. And to their surprise, there was nothing. Nothing at all. Maybe the manager was telling the truth. Maybe Fiona did get sent away. But at least the night guard's questions and curiosities were answered for the time being. So now the night guard heads back to the security office to start their shift. But little do they know, they have unleashed something that was eager to get out. So now, let's get into the gameplay segment of the video. As always, the gameplay loop is based on the classic FNAF formula of observation and management. So Fiona's starting position would always be inside the desert daycare. She would start moving at around 3 to 4 AM. Fiona would be very elusive and just be out of frame as she sneaks down to the office. The player would need to be extra careful to pay attention to where she could be. So Fiona would approach the right-hand door. As soon as the player sees her, they would need to close the door immediately. When they opened the door back up again, they would need to be sure that she was still not there. Sometimes Fiona will jump up onto the ceiling and hide as well. So in the first video, we went into some of the items that the player could use to survive through the night. One of those items was the homemade EMP. This was a single-use item that could disable all the characters for 1 whole hour. So when multiple characters are closing in on the player, that's when they would need to use it. Just as they reach the door at the last moment, the player would activate it. Everyone would shut down and the player would survive the final night. But if the player has already used the EMP on a previous night, then they would have to try and survive on their own. And if they get overwhelmed and don't act in time, then they'll be greeted with a classic FNAF jump scare. So I think Fiona the Fennec Fox would be a great final character to have at the Desert Diner Pizzeria. Their frightening appearance is definitely creepy and off-putting, and they would offer a great challenge for the player on the final night, that's for sure. Alrighty everyone, well that's what we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, so it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let us know in the comment section down below what you thought of Fiona the Fennec Fox and what you'd like to see in the next series. Alrighty everyone, well, to the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.